Hello listeners, have a nice day to everyone. Happy and healthy life to all. I am Dr. Neelakandan from Department of Psychology, Annamalai University. Today I want to explain something about research. Research made easy. That is the title today we want to discuss. First of all, before entering into research, being researchers, we should put eyes on our head first. What is mean by eyes? That is very important. Eye means interest. Being a researcher, your interest is very, very important. The interest definitely will help you to do your research in an innovative way, in a creative way, because research is very, very important. That will take you to the highest position. So see, the commitment is very important. E, enthusiasm, utshaham. So you put eyes on your head first. That is very important. So now we will move on to the topic. What do you mean by research? What do you mean by research? It is a systematic effort to gain new knowledge. It is a systematic effort to gain new knowledge. That means finding out a new fact from the old fact. Finding out a new knowledge, new fact from the old fact. That is research. But we should do it in a systematic way, step-by-step method of doing the activities or doing that work. That is called research. Here, according to Oxford Dictionary, research is defined as a careful study of a subject. Subject means human being or any other things, participant. So you should define as a careful study of a subject, especially in order to discover new facts. You should find out new facts or information. Here, when you consider the information, processed data is known as information. First, data means fact, nothing but about a things, about a person. That is data. Datum is a singular, data is a plural. So when you collect the data, after that you should process it and you will get information. That information should be a new one. That is very important in research. That is why in that Oxford Dictionary it is defined as a careful study of subject, especially in order to discover new facts or information about it. When you select a research, what are the criteria for selecting good research problem? There are some criteria are there. That I mentioned in the slide. The research should be significant to the discipline. Whatever the discipline you want to do it. Whether you want to do research in engineering, or you want to do a research in agriculture, or in medicine, or in arts, or in education, whatever the discipline, but it should be unique, it should be a significant one. That is why in the research, the guides are instructed to the research scholar to write a particular separate topic called significance of your work. That is need of your research. What is your need? What is importance? Why you do this research? What is significant? So here, good research problem should be a significant one. And again, the next one is very important. Originality. Originality is very important. But now, most of the, I don't want to blame anyone, most of the researchers, they are all simply adopt CCP method. What do you mean by CCP method? Cut, copy, paste. Because we are all using ICT technology, information communication technology, e-resources are available, plenty of e-resources are available. Whatever we want to, we have to verify. Whatever we want to verify, we just enter into any search engine. We will collect or we will get a lot of information. But simply copy those information, putting into that one and arranging all the things, that is not a research. research should be original. You should find out new fact. That means you should give a solution, okay, new solution. That is very important. The next one, feasibility. When you consider the feasibility, there are different types of feasibility. That is why in research it is very clearly mentioned that time and cost is a limiting factor. Time and cost is a limiting factor. Whatever research, whether you do master degree research or postgrad, that is MPhil or doctorate PhD research, there are certain limits are there. There must be a certain time limits are there. 3 years, 5 years are there. So here the time is very important, and how much money you are spending. The cost is very important. That is why cost and time is a limiting factor for research. So you should consider those factors in the case of feasibility. So economic feasibility, technical feasibility, and user feasibility. Whatever we will do research, then at the final we should write research report. We should present our research views or our findings. All the things we should give it in the form of research report. When you write research report, it should be very clear. It should be very clear. That means whatever the discipline you will do research, after submitting a research report, any educated people, if they want to know something about your research report, or they are very much interested to know about your research, once they read, they can able to understand. That way you have to write your research report. That is very important. That user feasibility, technical feasibility, economic feasibility. These are the three feasibilities we should consider. If your research problem satisfied or fulfilled all the three things, definitely your research problem is a feasibility one. And it should be clear and unambiguous. That is very important. And I already mentioned now, before I enter into the topic, as a researcher, you should apply eyes on your head first. Interest is very important. You should create interest. Whatever you want to do research, you should first create interest. You yourself motivate, and you should have a positive attitude that you are capable, you are able to do it, you want to do it in an innovative way. That way you yourself form an attitude, and you should create interest. Then only you will get a quality research. Otherwise, just for getting a doctorate degree, PhD degree or MPhil or master degree, people do research. When you consider most of the research, they are simply kept in a shelf or in the library only. They are not transformed into application oriented research. That are all still now they are considered as a basic research. That is not research. So once you find out some idea, something new fact, immediately the research outcome, that is very important. The outcome will be useful to society. That is very important. That way you should have to create interest, and you should have a positive attitude. Simply getting degree, nowadays everyone is doing research. That is not a research. See that after completing research, your research findings, in what way it will be useful to society? What is a new one? What is a unique one? What is originality? That are all you should consider. Because if you want to do research, there are some criteria I mentioned. At the same time, for good researcher should also have some characters, some quality, good quality for researcher, good researcher. So in that way, the interest is very important. The research problem should be very interesting, very new one. Once after submitting a research report, if the reader want to know, or the beginners, those who want to do research in some other area, if they want to verify a research report, so the outcome of the research will give some interest to the reader, and it will be a very unique one. So, and you should also consider ethical consideration, ethical ideas or values are very important for research. Ethics are very important. Sometimes some researchers, they will enter into controversial subject. Then after that, they are not able to complete the research within the period of time, or they will put it up on their own. That is not correct. So controversial subject or controversial area, researchers should not touch it. That is very important. Then availability of the subject. See that whatever the research you want to do it, you have to check it. You have to identify the resources available in that area. That are all you should check it. And the next one, it should be measurable. It should be measurable. That is why even if you want to research, want to do one research, before selecting a research problem, you should find out your potential on your own, and then you should also check the availability of the resources, including the infrastructure, including our research guides, so subject matter experts, that are all very important. So it should be measurable and it should be time bounded. That is very important. That is why I already mentioned, whatever research you want to do it, you should have to analyze whether it should be completed within that particular period, 5 years or 3 years. That way, considering all the facts, considering all those things, we should select research problem. If your research problem fulfill all the things, then that is a good research problem. That is why I mentioned it here. When you want to do research, suppose you want to select one research problem. What are the various sources for selecting research problem? Being a researcher, you should know it. Nowadays what we are expecting? Ready-made solution or ready-made things. That is not correct. There are so many sources for selecting research problem. The first one, what I already mentioned, is interest. What is your area of interest? In which area? In which discipline? In which one you want to do research? Whether that is a very interesting area for you. You should find out your interest first. After that, what are the other sources for selecting research problem? Once you enroll into research, simply sitting inside the cabin is not correct. You should go and attend seminar, conferences, workshops, not only inside the campus. You go and attend in outside also. When you go and attend seminar, conferences, workshops, you will get lot of ideas about research problem. So many experts will come and deliver their views. So when you go and attend, when you go and sit in that areas, you will get some new ideas. And then you have to come and discuss with your guides. After that you will be able to select one research problem. And one more thing, other sources say, you should go and refer so many research articles, so many journals, back volumes from our library, especially in our Annamalai University. We have the biggest library, we have the biggest library, main library. All sources are there. So once you enroll into a research program or in PG level, you have to go and visit in the library. After working hours over, up to 8 o'clock the library is open. So you should go and spend your time and collect all the sources, read all the sources, including a previous research report, whatever the research report already published. Even in your department, your previous seniors, that research report. When you just read the research report, in all the research report, the last chapters, they are all clearly mentioned. These are the areas suggested for a next researcher to do some research. That is need for further research. Suggestion for future research. When you read that particular page, you will get some idea to select a research problem. Because those period or in that time, they are not able to complete it. They will be able to complete only particular aspects only. Then, based on their views, they will recommend. These are the suggestions. Okay, these are the needs. Future researchers, they have to do all these things. So from that also we will be able to select some research problem. So I explained what are the various sources for selecting research problem. I already mentioned just reading from the journals or back volumes or previous research reports or attending seminar and conference and workshops, discussion with the subject matter experts, visiting nearby industries. Suppose you want to do research in engineering discipline, you go and visit nearby industries. What the industries are expecting. That is why I already mentioned your research report, the finding of your research report will be useful to society. See that if you go and approach industries, they will tell the problem. These are the problems, sir. We are trying, sir. We are not able to find out a solution for this particular one, sir. We are expecting, sir. Are you ready to take this one, sir? Research. They are ready to give the problem, research problem. So with that you will select research problem. So you have to visit nearby industries, nearby some other institutions, approach the experts or approach the top level leaders. They will tell all the issues, what are all they are facing, what are all the areas they are facing, what are all the problems they are facing, what are the the problem we are not able to find a solution. Through that you will be able to get, being young research, you will be able to get some research problem. And then if you want to discuss with your guide, give some ideas. And if you go and visit a society, even humanities, those people who want to do research in the field of humanities and social science, see that you should go and try to live in the society. Especially at psychology, they are mentioned. Psychology is not to sit within the four walls. The psychologist has to live in the street. Psychology has to live in the street, so that they are able to find out, they are able to know the human being's problem. So from the society or from the community, we should be able to find out. Even just read from the newspapers, daily magazine newspapers, you will be able to find out some research problem. Social issues, social science researcher, they will consider. Or from that they will be able to select one research problem. That way, as a researcher, once you enroll into research problem, you should take some interest. And you should develop your level of ISB. That is, what do you mean by ISB? Information seeking behavior. That is very important. Information seeking behavior. You should have to go and seek information. That kind of attitude, that kind of interest, that kind of behavior you should have. Then only you will be able to do research in an innovative way. You will be able to show your originality. Automatically you will get to name and fame. See that nowadays simply getting PhD, that won't give job to you. See that you are all living in competitive world. Someone want to give some job to you, they don't ask anything. Okay, don't mistake. They will only ask. What do you mean they ask? Attitude. A means attitude. S means skill. K means knowledge. See that they don't ask anything to give. They will only ask. Attitude, skill, knowledge. Once if you gain or you develop KSA, sometimes we call it as KSA, knowledge, skill, attitude. If you gain, if you develop, definitely you will get a very good position in this area, in this global, world level. You will be able to shine. Such a kind of opportunities for youngsters. You will be able to shine. Colorful way, in a colorful manner, you will be able to shine. You don't go and bet, you don't go and search it. Automatically come to your footstep. Money and everything, whatever you want to luxury life, whatever you want to live, whatever you want to purchase, everything come to your footstep. But you should develop the attitude, skill, knowledge. For that purpose you should do research. Don't think just for getting the label, PhD, MPhil, PG, that label won't give you. Degree is not enough. Apart from the degree, you should need skill, attitude, knowledge, and especially in the modern days, you need soft skill as well as hard skill. That is very important. So, researcher, being a researcher, you should first create interest. Now I will move on to research process. So, when you want to do research, what are the steps you should do and what are the process you should follow? I explained in a simple diagrammatic representation. Very, very easy to understand. See, first of all, I already mentioned, you should select some sources for selecting research problem. That is why the first step I mentioned, identifying the problem. Identifying the problem. Should identify. The problem should be a unique one. It should be creative. It should be innovative. It should be original. That means a new one. So for that I already explained, there are so many sources I already explained. So you have to go on there, review all the sources. That is a review of literature. That is another one important area. Review of literature is nothing but what? It's nothing but past studies conducted in your discipline by the previous researchers. You just go and collect all the review of literature. In that review of literature, it will give complete idea about your research. It will give guidelines to you. It's just like a Google map. Nowadays, as you are youngsters, if you want to go, if you want to visit, if you want to travel, you don't go and approach anyone. Those days we all approach. But now, you just immediately take your mobile, put it in your Google map, put it. Immediately it will take to your destination. Like that, review of literature will give some new ideas. It gives complete ideas, views, picture about your research work. What you want to do, where you want to do, how you have to do, what you will do, why you do research. This is nothing but research design. Research design. What is that? It's just like a blueprint. Before entering into research, you should have those things you should have to collect. You should know the research methodology. For that, if you read a review of literature, that will give a complete idea, complete picture about your research work, how you will do it. Definitely it will create a confidence level, to increase your level, confidence level, self-confidence. Don't lose your self-confidence in your life. Self-confidence is a third leg for human being. See that, if you have self-confidence, you will be able to achieve many things in the field of research. You will get Nobel Prize. Sometimes for your research report you will get Nobel Prize. Definitely you will get it. You don't think you will get only degree. You will get Nobel Prize. That way you have to create interest and you will do research. Something you will do it. Okay. For all those things you will take, you practice effort. Then that will take you to success. That is formula. PE is equal to S. Practice into effort, make it into success. பயிற்சி, முயற்சி, வெற்றி. என்ன சொல்றோம்? பயிற்சி, முயற்சி, வெற்றி. பயிற்சியும் கிடையாது, முயற்சியும் கிடையாது, வெற்றி எப்படிங்க கிடைக்கும்? Comfort zone. We are all living in comfort zone, most of the peoples. That is not correct. So when you consider the research process, the first step in research process is nothing but you should identify the problem by using various sources. That I already mentioned. After identifying the problem, this is the area you want to do research. This is the problem you want to do research. But here, first you should select the area of research. Then after that, you should define and redefining the research problem. You should define and redefining the research problem. For that I will give some idea, some example from my area. Say for example, a researcher who want to do research in the field of psychology, researcher aim is to find out adjustment problem or mental health in relation to academic achievement or adjustment problem in relation to personality among the college student. That is not a research problem. Among the college students is a very big area. So you should have to define whether you want to do research among professional college or non-professional, whether arts students or science student, or in the arts and science, which year you want to do research, whether you want to select first year student or last year final year student or in the second year student, whether you want to select male and female you want to compare or not. So these are all very important. That is why I mentioned after selecting the problem, you should define and redefining the research problem. Then only you will be able to complete your research within the stipulated period of time. Otherwise, if you select a radical problem or some other problem, you are not defined it properly, and then you yourself not able to complete your research work within a period of time. Most of the researchers are failed. Most of the researchers are facing these type of difficulties. That is why you should shape and sharp. That is very important. So after identifying the problem, when you go through the review of literature, it will give us complete ideas about your research work. After getting ideas about the review of literature, you will be able to define your problem in a specific way, focused way, in a specific way. Defining and redefining the problem. Narrow down the problem. Yes sir, I want to measure adjustment problem in relation to something, academic achievement or mental health in relation to personality among professional and non-professional students in a particular district or in a particular year. Like that you have to specifically have to mention it. That is very important. It is the next step in the research. After that, just read the review of literature, you will get it. Then based on the research problem, here it is very, very important. That is why I mentioned based on the research problem, you should set research objective, aim. Suppose if you take adjustment problem among the college students, or specific professional and non-professional, or you should select some organization climate in relation to occupational stress, organization climate in relation to stress among the public and private sector employees, if you take the research problem. Or if you want to do research in the field of aviation, teachers' attitude towards teaching. What kind of attitude towards the teaching? Teaching attitude towards the teaching, or a personality in relation with that, or emotional competency, achievement motivation among boys and girls, or rural and urban, like that. Should select some research problem, different areas. Even in the financial, what you call the financial management, that is operational efficiency among the private sector and public sector, or financial performance. But financial performance, if you take, during which period? 2020-22, operational efficiency during which year? Like that. Quality of work life among which areas? It's a overall subject. That way you have to define it. So based on the problem, you should set objective. The objective is directly matched with the problem. So, okay. Then after framing the objectives, say for example, most of the time when you frame the objectives, you should write in that way only. To find out, to identify, to examine, to evaluate, to investigate. Different types of vocabulary you should use it, because I already mentioned good research problem create interest. So if someone want to read your research report, they themselves create interest. For example, ஒரு கதை புத்தகத்தை படிக்கிறோம் அப்படின்னா அந்த கதை புத்தகத்தை படித்து கதை புத்தகங்களை படிக்கும்போது அதை படிச்சுட்டே இருக்கும்போது அவ்வளோ வச்சுட்டு போக மாட்டோம். டக்குன்னு சாப்பிடணும்னா கூட லேட்டாக பரவாயில்ல அப்படின்னு, ஏன்னா அந்த அளவுக்கு ஒரு ஆர்வத்தை உண்டாக்கும். ஸோ அந்த எழுத்தாளர்கள் அந்த அளவுக்கு ஆர்வத்தை உண்டாக்குகிறார்கள். அதை போலதான் உங்களுடைய ஆய்வு கட்டுரை என்பது ஒரு ஆர்வத்தை உண்டாக்க வேண்டும். யாருக்கு? ரீடருக்கு, படிப்பாளர், இந்த உன்னுடைய ஆய்வு கட்டுரை படிப்பவர்களுக்கு. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி நீங்கள் ஆய்வு கட்டுரை எழுத வேண்டும் என்று சொல்றாங்க. ஸோ அப்போ when you want to do research, the research objective should match with the research problem, and based on that objectives, you should formulate hypothesis. Here all the things are, everyone is connected. Everyone is connected, all chapters. That is why I will explain later in how to write a research report. See, the doing research is just like our physical human being body. How the body, in our body, each and every parts are connected. Like that, when you take research report, all chapters should be connected with the next chapter. That's the way you should write research report. So when you have to frame objectives, you should carefully have to use the words. Don't use the same word. Some of the research report, when I just read that one, that report they have mentioned, to find out. That give boredom to that one, and the examiner also have some negative image about your research report. So you should change to identify, to examine, to know the impact, to evaluate, to examine or to identify the significant relationship between mental health and personality, or to identify the significant influence of socio-economic or socio-demographic variables with respect to academic achievement, to find out the significant factor or to find out the influencing factor. Like that you should write objective. All the objectives focus on your problem. Then after framing the objectives, you should formulate hypothesis. So what do you mean by hypothesis? தமிழ்ல சொன்னோம்னா என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா அனுமானம், கருதுகோள். So hypothesis is nothing but a tentative solution. It's merely an assumption. It's merely an assumption made by the researcher. See that it is formulated based on your assumption. You want to test it and you want to prove it in a scientific way. That is why research is a systematic effort to gain new knowledge. This is a scientific way of finding out any fact, scientific method of analyzing the data. So if you want to test a hypothesis, you need some statistical method. So hypothesis is nothing but it is a tentative solution, tentative ideas, assumption. It is merely an assumption made by the researcher. So generally there are different methods of deriving hypothesis. What are all? Inductive method, deductive method, empirical method. Deductive method means you derive from theory. If you want to prove or disprove some theories, especially some engineering field or in some other science field, if you want to do research, you want to disprove the theories, or you want to evaluate the theories whether it is correct or not, you want to check it, you want to evaluate. That is a deductive method. Inductive, you should derive or you should formulate all those things. This is the way you should follow three methods: inductive, deductive and empirical. But when you consider the types of hypotheses, in general there are two types of hypothesis. The one is called alternate hypothesis. In general, hypothesis standard symbol usually we denote it as H, capital H. And when you put the suffix A, H suffix A, that is the alternative hypothesis. Then another one, null hypothesis, H suffix O. What is the difference between alternate and null hypothesis? Very easy, very easy to do research. Just within a small example, with a simple example I will be able to explain. See, there is a significant difference. If there is any difference, simply you remember this word, only two words. If there is any difference, then that is called alternate hypothesis. Vidyasam irikkirathe. That is alternative. If there is no difference, null hypothesis, Vidyasam illai. I give some small example. So we already mentioned the hypothesis should be formulated or framed based on the objectives. Suppose you wanted to find out or to examine the significant relationship between mental health and family environment. Family environment, Kudumba Soonalai, Mananalam, or occupational stress in relation with the organizational climate. MBA are the people who want to do research. Occupational stress in relation with the job performance or job satisfaction. Organization climate in relation with the job satisfaction. This is objective. See what, if you formulate a hypothesis, there is, or sometimes most of it is tentative, so you should formulate a hypothesis in that way. There will be no significant relationship between organizational climate and the job performance. So if you take educational psychology, there is no significant relationship between institutional climate or classroom climate in relation with the students' academic achievement or teachers' performance. There is no significant relationship. If it formulate in that way, there is no relationship. This is called null hypothesis. Simply you have to remember, no relationship, no difference. That is null hypothesis. If suppose you formulate there will be a significant relationship between classroom climate and students' academic achievement, or study habit and study involvement, or organization climate and job satisfaction or job involvement. There will be a significant relationship between organization climate and job involvement or job satisfaction. Here we should tell there is a relationship. Suppose if you find out there will be a significant difference in respondents or subject or participant level of stress based on the type of job or the type of family or marital status. Say for example, if someone is married, how they feel, if you consider marital status, married groups have high level of stress when compared with bachelor or single. So in that case you should formulate hypothesis. There will be a significant difference in respondents' level of stress based on the marital status or based on the type of family. That way also you should formulate hypothesis. If you know, or when you just read the review of literature, you already got some ideas. Some previous researchers have already proved it. Students coming from nuclear family, students coming from nuclear family, they feel high level of loneliness, or they have low level of sociable skill, sociability when compared with a joint family. Students coming from nuclear family have high level of loneliness or low level of sociability when compared with the joint family. கூட்டு குடும்பத்தில் இருக்கிறவங்க பசங்க நல்லா பேசுறாங்க போறாங்க, அவன் தனிமையில் எதையும் உணர மாட்டான். நிறைய பேர் வீட்டில் இருக்கிறாங்க. தனி குடும்பத்தில் அப்பா அம்மா பையன், nowadays especially we are all giving importance for vitamin M. So 3 key system, 4 key system, 1 key father, 1 key mother, 2 key children, 4 key system now. We are all running beyond that one only, materialistic world. That is not correct. Don't give importance for money. You should give importance for human values, social values. That is very important. மனிதர்களை மதிக்க கற்றுக்கொள்ள வேண்டும். So in that way, so how the family environment influence? Suppose if you want to find out, the significant difference. So here what type of hypothesis? There will be a significant difference in respondents or students' level of interest in study based on the type of family, joint family or nuclear family. Here there will be a significant difference, that is called alternate hypothesis. There will be no significant difference, means null hypothesis. So here hypothesis should be formulated based on the objective. The objective should be formulated based on the problem. Each should be connected. Then after formulating objectives and hypothesis, how you want to do research, where you want to do research, what you want to collect, in which method you want to select, who are all your samples, where you want to do research, these are all you should finalize and you should define it. So that is why you should choose a proper study design. Choosing a proper study design, that is called research design. Whether you want to do research in experimental or non-experimental, or you want to go to survey field or observational research design, there are so many things. Or you want to do research in a cross culture, you want to find out, or you want to compare between Indian students and Japan students, or you want to compare between southern part of Indian students or northern part, who are having high level of emotional competency, who are having high level of competency, skill. If you want to compare cross-sectional or cross-cultural study, like that also, there are so many studies, so many types of research are there. So based on that you should select research design, research study. Then after that you should select a sample also. What do you mean by sample? Sample is nothing but is a representative of the population. Sample is nothing but a representative of the population. Sample means what? If you want to go and purchase some rice or some groceries for a month, or if you have an idea to purchase 10 kg, suppose at the time the shopkeeper is introduced one new product, sir, this is a new product. So immediately what do you want to ask? Sir, you please give some sample. We will go and test it. After that we will come and purchase. Like that. Sample is nothing but a representative of the population. So here when you consider the sampling, there are two types, probability and non-probability sampling. In probability there are different types are there, non-probability there are different types are there. So after selecting the research design, you should have to select sample. Who are all your samples? Who are all your subject? That all you should finalize it, you should decide. So after selecting the sample, you should collect data. When you consider the data, here I mentioned there are two types of data: primary data secondary data. Primary data means, what is primary data? Just like go and drink fresh juice. If you want to drink one juice, don't drink hot, that is packed juice, that affect your health. So if you want to drink apple juice, you go to nearby, or better you prepare in your home. I think it's better. Health is very important. Health is better than wealth. So you should give important. So the primary data is nothing but a fresh juice. So that means you should go and collect data according to our needs. Then and there we should go to the field, or we should observe from the children, or we should observe something from the field, or if you want to do some experiments using in your laboratory condition. Say for example, you want to do research in electronics or electronics and instrumentation, you want to do some research in the process control. So you want to go to the lab and use some experiment, some apparatus, and based on the apparatus you should connect the computers with the real time, and then collect all the data, simulating all the things, collect the data fresh. Newly you should generate and collect the data. Then and there we should collect. Like that, primary data is a fresh data, it's a new one. But whereas when you collect secondary data, when you use secondary data, what is mean by secondary data? It is already available, ready-made juice. That is why I already mentioned. Say if I want to find out a student's academic achievement, so I don't want to conduct a test. So I just go and approach the school headmasters or the principals of the college. I selected some samples, selected some students. Sir, I want to know about their academic performance in the last years. If I go and approach the office, definitely they will give all the details. So based on the last year performance, I consider. So the mark sheet is then secondary data, even census. Or if I want to know the employee's income, or I want to know the employee's age. So my age, whether the young employees who are in young age, whether they are have high level of job satisfaction, or the employees with age that is 50, above 50, and whether they all have high level of job satisfaction, or who are entered into organization, newly entered into organization, work experience, below 5 years, above 5 years, or below 5 years, 5 to 10 years, 10 and above. Which group of employees have high level of job satisfaction? Which group of employees have high level of productivity? Suppose I want to know. So here I don't go and collect, I don't go and ask the employees what is your age and what is your experience, how long you are working. Those data is already kept in the personal department, HRM department, human resource management. When you go and after selecting a sample, if you go and approach, they will give all the details already available in the records. Students mark is as one example for secondary data. Employee salary is a secondary data. Monthly income is a secondary data. It's the way old data. These are all. So based on that, our problem, we should select whether we want to use primary data or secondary data. We should first decide. After selecting that one, when you want to do research based on your primary data, so here there are different methods are there to collect the data, primary data. What are the various methods of collecting primary data? So if you want to go and conduct interview, sometimes you prepare questionnaire, but you want to do research in the rural areas, you want to know how the rural communities, especially after the COVID, what about their lifestyle, what about the quality of life, what about their mental health, what are the economic problems they are facing. You want to study, you want to find out. So here in normally some farmers, they don't know how to read, their level of literacy is very low. So here you should go and conduct interview method, direct interview method. That is very important. Interview method. Even in interview there are direct interview and indirect interview methods are also there. And if especially if you want to find out a children's problem, so here you should go and use or you should follow observation method. Even in organization also, now some researchers, they use this method, observation method of collecting data. Especially now electronic media, some in organization they install the cameras in the work spot. The cameras clip all the performance of the employees. Then based on that they have collected data and log records. This is secondary data. For every hours how many products they have produced. Per day how many products they have produced. They are all recorded. Work performance. Whether employees working in environmental psychology, the environment influence work productivity. Whether working in employees working in AC or non-AC, AC, whether employees working in AC is AC, they have to product high production or non-working non-AC, like that. So many examples are there. So interview method, direct observation method, and even we should use some standard questionnaire method. We ask some questions or typed some questions, and using questionnaire we have to distribute the questionnaire to the selected respondent subjects, then collect some data. So these are the various methods of collecting data. So I already explained method of data. Then hypothesis also I already explained. Okay, this is very important. After collecting the data, what you will do? So you should analyze the data, because I already mentioned research is nothing but a scientific method of study. It is a systematic way to gain knowledge, new knowledge. We should do it all the things in a step by step, in a logical way. So here, after formulating hypothesis, okay, then we have to collect data. After collecting the data, we have to coding the data, because coding is very important here. See, in computer we should not able to, that is in statistics. Statistics is a subject of science which deals only with number. So when you want to test a hypothesis, you need some statistics. There are different types of statistics. Descriptive statistics, inferential statistics are there. So based on the statistics, you will be able to test a hypothesis, whether it is accepted or rejected. Based on that, you will be able to write findings, and then you will prepare a report, research report. So here, if you want to apply some statistics, your responses should be converted into numerical value. That is called measurement. Qualitative into quantitative. Qualitative response is nothing but, are you satisfied? What level of opinion about your job? Highly satisfied, satisfied, neutral, dissatisfied, that is called. But we cannot able to apply any statistics. So you should convert into score, measurement, qualitative into quantitative, assigning some weightages. So that is called coding. So we will do coding in the Microsoft Excel or some other new packages are there. Even in SPSS, social science people, they are all using SPSS packages. Okay, statistical package for social science research. That is SPSS. Using SPSS, just we should take data sheet, we have to enter all the data in the form of numerical value. Then only we will be able to apply statistics. From that only we will be able to test the hypothesis. Here accepting and rejecting is nothing but testing of hypothesis. How we have to test hypothesis? Even to test hypothesis, appropriate statistical tools are very important. I already gave an example. See, if you want to find out the relationship between family environment and students' performance, or classroom climate in relation with our academic performance, or organization climate in relation with job satisfaction. Suppose you want to find out. Here you should find, just understand or listen, that is observe the word relationship. That is called relationship. Find out the relationship between organization climate in relation to jobs. So whenever you find out the word term relationship, simply you should use only one statistical tools which is available, correlation. So whoever want to research in any discipline, well, up to, I think in my experience 99% of researchers, they are all using correlation, irrespective of the discipline. If they want to test the relationship, the only powerful statistical tool is nothing but correlation. What is meant by correlation? It's a powerful statistical tools which is used to find out the relationship between two variables or more than two variables. but it is used to find out the relationship. When you take correlation, there are different types: positive correlation, negative correlation. Here the sign is very important. So you should give important. Nowadays using computer you will get result. When you just feed the data, select the menu, analysis menu, click it, you will get the result. The output is displayed in the monitor. But as a researcher, you should have a knowledge to interpret the data. Interpret the result. That is very important. Then only you will be able to test your hypothesis, you will be able to write your findings. You will be able to complete your research report. So when you analyze the data using correlation, you will get the result. Say for example R value. Standard symbol for correlation is small r. But when you use capital R, it is nothing but regression. The purpose of regression is different. Regression is used to find out only the significant influence. How much percentage of influence between two factors or between two parameters. R square value. That is capital R. But when you consider correlation, is a smaller. So if you take R value, assume that you are getting R value, okay, 0.70. If no sign, automatically it is positive. Positive correlation. What do you mean by positive correlation? If the organization provide better climate to the employees, they are more satisfied, their job satisfaction is high, their job involvement is high. So it is directly related. Positive correlation means both variables act in the same direction. Say for example X and Y. That is called a positive correlation. Or both act opposite, downward. If you take negative, if you can assume that R value is minus 0.64, negative correlation. That means if organization climate is, if occupational stress is high, mental health is low. Employees' health is affected. Quality of life is poor because they are facing a lot of stress, high stress in the work stress, and work motivation or sometimes health affected. That is called mental health. That is a negative correlation. So in that way, you should be able to test the hypothesis. So if suppose you formulate a hypothesis, there will be a significant relationship between organization climate and job satisfaction. Assume that if you apply R value, correlation test, you will get R value 0.7. Then 0.7, here there are certain norms are there. Nowadays in computer, after analyzing the data, when you see the result, below the result, they will put a star mark, 1 star, 2 star. What do you mean by that? 1 star indicates significant at 0.01 level. 2 star indicate significant at 0.05 level. What do you mean by 0.01 level? What do you mean by 0.05 level? That is called a level of significant. That is called a level of significant. That is called the p value, probability value. Here also there are certain rules are there. Whatever the result you will get it. Then your p value is less than or equal to 0.05. That means it is significant. Here simply you should remember alternate hypothesis accepted. Sir, if again I am explaining, if your R value, whatever may be, but the probability values, p value is very important. Irrespective of the statistics, whatever the statistics you applied, correlation, ANOVA, chi-square test, t-test, okay, whatever the statistics, whatever type of statistics you will use, you will get a p value. That is called a level of significance. If your p value less than or equal to 0.05, that is called a significant. Significant means alternate hypothesis accepted. What do you mean by that? What do you write it in the findings? There is a significant. Now we change the statement. Hypothesis is a tentative. That is why you use there will be. But now you confirm that. You proved that. So you should write there is a significant relationship or a positive and significant relationship between organization climate and job satisfaction. So if the organization climate is good, the job satisfaction, employees also get good, high satisfaction in the job. If the organization, if the family environment is good, the student's performance is good. This is a positive and significant relationship. So in that finding you should write it. Positive and significant relationship. Positive and significant. Here alternate hypothesis accepted. Suppose assume that if your p value, probability value is greater than 0.05, whatever the test you apply, no problem. It is a correlation or t-test. T-test means test of significance. Okay, or F-test, that is called ANOVA or regression. So in the computer nowadays you get it p-value. So you consider that your p-value, significant value, SIG value. So if your value is greater than 0.05, that is called not significant. That is called a not significant. Not significant means no significant difference. That means null hypothesis accepted. What is the findings you should write? There is no relationship or there is no significant difference between X and Y, or respondents do not differ or does not differ significantly in their level of job satisfaction based on the income. Income is not a factor. What you should write? Monthly income or a salary is not a factor to determine the job satisfaction of the employee. Age is not a factor to measure the intelligence. Like that you should write. If you accept null hypothesis. When you accept null hypothesis, if your significant value, probability value is greater than 0.05, you should remember that one. You don't worry about the statistics. That is why I changed it. Whatever statistics you applied, or correlation, or t-test, or ANOVA, you get people, you just go through it. That is why in most of the international article, when you just go through the report analysis part, they are not displayed all those things in the table form. They will just, when you read the discussion part, in the discussion part they will mention P greater than 0.05 or P less than or equal to 0.05. That's the way they mentioned. So you just give importance. If it is greater than 0.05, it is called not significant. Don't say insignificant. Insignificant is not a correct term. Not significant. That means null hypothesis accepted. No significant difference, or the factor is that a particular variable or a particular factor is not influenced. But if you get a p-value less than or equal to 0.05, that indicate there is a significant difference. So alternate hypothesis accepted. So age is a significant factor to measure, or monthly income or salary is a significant factor that directly related with job satisfaction. So if you give more salary, employees are satisfied. If you give autonomy in the work, employees are satisfied. Like that. It is a significant factor. So in that way, you have to test the hypothesis. After testing the hypothesis only, you will be able to write findings. Based on the finding, you should give some implication, recommendation. These are the things, these are the one you should follow. Then only you should be able to develop your organization. You will be able to create a positive one to your employees. You will be able to get to work from your employees. Like that. If students, if you consider the student, these are the technique, these are the methods, or these are the intervention, you say the institution or the teachers, they have to adapt, they will be able to improve the students' academic performance. So that is there. From the hypothesis testing only, we will be able to write findings. I think the remaining say how to write report, research report. What are the techniques we have to follow to write research report? What are the three main parts of the research report? What we will consider to write research? Which report? That is, what are all we should consider to write a good research report? Research report writing is an art. That is a different one. So I think thank you to all. The research report writing I will discuss in some other article writing, and research report writing I will discuss in some other session. Thank you to all. Thank you.